The former Chief of Defence Staff, Air Chief Marshal Alex Bade, has pleaded not guilty to a 10-count charge of money laundering at the Federal High Court in Abuja. At today's proceedings, the EFCC asked the court to remand the former Air Chief Marshal in custody. The former Chief of Defence Staff's counsel drew the attention of the court to a motion for bail filed by his client on the 2nd of March 2016. However, the presiding judge, Justice Abang, held that the motion is not competent as the court can only exercise jurisdiction over an accused person when he is arraigned. Justice Abang then struck out the application for lack of merit. The former defence chief has been remanded in the Kuje prison.
Prosecutors have finally arraigned the former Chief of Defence Staff, Air Chief Marshal Alex Bade, after his arraignment failed to hold on Friday due to the absence of Justice Okon Abang assigned to hear the case. The retired military chief was arraigned on 10-count charge of money laundering, criminal breach of trust and diversion of public funds to the tune of 3.9 billion naira. Prosecutors say Air Chief Marshal Bade used the money meant for the Nigerian Air Force to buy choice properties in Abuja. According to the charges, he illegally used 6 million naira to renovate his son's house, which he bought for 260 million naira in Abuja between January and December 2013. The former defense chief is also alleged to have used the sum of 876 million naira belonging to the Nigerian Air Force to build a shopping mall in Abuja. He pleaded not guilty to all the charges. Attempts by his lawyer to apply for his bail was rejected by the court. Justice Abang said the court cannot hear the application because it was filed before the court took jurisdiction of the case. He, however, agreed to give accelerated hearing to the bail application, which he fixed for the 10th of March 2016. Counsel to the former defense chief speaks about the proceeding.
The first accused person, Bade, has been arraigned formally before the court, and he has taken his plea of not guilty. Consequently, we wanted to argue our application for bail, and as rightly pointed out by the presiding, the application is not right for hearing, in that we filed the application for bail before the arraignment. So now the matter has been adjourned to Thursday to allow us to file a fresh bail application to be argued on Thursday.
Besides adjourning to the 10th of March 2016 to hear the bail application filed by the former defense chief, the court also adjourned the trial to the 14th of March to hear it on the day-to-day basis. But until then, the former defense chief is to remain in the custody of the Nigerian prisons pending the hearing and subsequent determination of his bail application. Amaka Okafor, Channels Television News.
In the meantime, the trial of the former chairman of the House of Representatives ad hoc committee on the monitoring of fuel subsidy regime, Honorable Farouk Lawan, today continued in Abuja with a principal witness testifying how he collected $100,000 from Mr. Michael Otedola and delivered the same to Honorable Lawan. At the resumed trial, the witness who served as the secretary of the committee informed the court that he was called 19 times by Mr. Otedola to pick up the money for Honorable Lawan. He also disclosed how 2 oil firms belonging to Mr. Otedola used the same form to claim petroleum subsidy from the federal government. With the request for an adjournment by the defense lawyer to enable him secure some documents with which to cross-examine the witness, the trial judge, Justice Angela Ataluka, adjourned the case to the 12th of April for continuation of trial and cross-examination. A federal high court in Abuja has granted the application by the government to shield its witnesses in the trial of the self-proclaimed leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Mr. Nnamdi Kanu. Mr. Kanu is facing charges of alleged treason. Justice James Soho said that the application by the Director of Public Prosecution, Mr. Mohammed Diri, is not a departure from his earlier ruling that the court will protect the witnesses from any harm. He therefore ordered that besides providing the witnesses with a path and secret holding room, A shield will be used to ensure that only the judge, the accused persons and parties in the suit have access to the countenance of the witnesses. More stories now. Nigeria's Minister of Defense, Mansour Ali, has met with his South African counterpart, Mapisa Ngakula, in Abuja. Well, the meeting focused on sharing of ideas and expertise in the areas of research, training and infrastructure development. This is in continuation of a memorandum of understanding between both ministries in 2013. The meeting comes ahead of the visit by the President of South Africa to Nigeria, Jacob Zuma, who is expected to discuss technical aspects of this collaboration with President Muhammadu Buhari. As we just told you, South Africa's President Jacob Zuma will arrive in Abuja later today. During the visit, he's expected to address a joint session of Nigeria's National Assembly on Tuesday. The South African president arrives with 6 ministers and a huge business delegation. Our correspondent in South Africa gives us a brief preview of the visit, as well as what people on both sides expect from it.
It's the meeting of Africa's 2 giants with a history of love and sisterhood. More recently, sometimes good, other times quite frosty. President Jacob Zuma leads a delegation of 6 key ministers, as well as a large number of business leaders. A lot is expected to be discussed, from bilats and MOUs to probably MTN's huge fine by Nigeria, as well as Nigeria's arms money seizures by South Africa, among other niggling issues.
There are subsidies, a very good relationship between Nigeria and South Africa. The 2 of them have decided to meet, so to speak, officially by way of state visit and iron out areas that are perceived to create some concern.
There are also wish lists from the sidelines, from the experts.
I think, as I say, I think this partnership with South Africa is crucial, and we saw that chemistry between President Mbeki and Obasanjo, and we don't have that chemistry, or we haven't had that chemistry for the last number of years. And so is there potential for that with President Zuma and President Buhari? We don't know.
It is very good for both countries to have free movement of people within the continent, but it's also very important for them to take into account the security, the economic potential between the 2 countries. So it's actually very important to look at the immigration laws on both sides.
The 2 countries must find a healthy balance between strategic competition and strategic cooperation, because if they miss the balance, the impact will be destructive.
And on the streets, there are more.
I will want say Baba to discuss with him police brutality. I will want say Baba to discuss with him the economic ties between Nigeria and South Africa as a whole.
MTN has been unfairly fined. So I think they'll talk about it.
The harassment we get from South Africans police is a lot, and the discrimination within South African citizen and Nigerian citizen. I don't know, like they're dragging something which we don't know.
The two presidents should sit down and say, how do we bring our people together? They can do even workshops saying these are South Africans and Nigerian workshop. This is what Nigeria does. This is what South Africa do. In that way, I think it will be unite.
120 South African companies are doing big business in Nigeria, covering diverse areas. Nigeria is South Africa's 7th largest trading partner. A binational commission established in 1999 is meant to push issues touching 34 bilateral agreements and memoranda of understanding. While some question how beneficial this has been for Nigeria so far, some of those doing business across wish the path was much smoother.
I think there's not still enough contact really between people of South Africa and Nigeria in South Africa. And that is something that we have tried through our events and through our relationships and networks to address.
I think it is up to the stakeholders in the various sectors to come up with a compass. What do the Nigerian business community want from South Africa? the platform of discussion like the business forum we're going to have, will enable them to tell their counterparts, eyeball to eyeball, this is what we want.
From Johannesburg, South Africa, Pt.3, Channels Television News.
After a few days of mayhem in Mile 12 Market in Lagos, the State House of Assembly today asked the Lagos Governor Akinwumi Ambode to consider relocating the Mile 12 Market. Speaking on the matter of urgent public importance moved by lawmakers representing Oshodi Solo Constituency 2, Honorable Jude Idimogu, the Assembly urged the Governor to relocate the Mile 12 Market and the Owode Oniri Market to other locations. You're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, reaching you live from Lagos. Time to shift more gears now as we move on to the business segment of the news at 10 with Emana Ambrose Amawe.
You first. First Bank.
Hello and welcome to Business News. Well, Nigeria may report slower gross domestic products in the first quarter of 2016 as the manufacturing data shows a second decline in the month of February. In a report released today, analysts at the securities trading firm Codros Capital say that the latest Purchasing Managers Index released by the central bank shows a sharp decline in Nigeria's manufacturing and non-manufacturing sectors. The report reveals that the less than 50 PMI reading recorded year-to-date suggests that economic activities have generally slowed since December 2015. Codros Capital analysts say this puts the central bank under pressure to provide further decisive policy support at the next interest rate setting meeting due in 2 weeks. And a new report released today by the investment research firm FBN Quest says it has plotted a chart showing a steady increase in Nigeria's domestic debt service payments over 4 years. FBN Quest says Nigeria's total debt service in 2016 under the budget proposals would amount to 36% of government revenues. That's about 1.36 trillion naira. Domestic debt obligations will account for 96% of the total debt service in the current year. The FBN Quest report says the deterioration in the ratio from 26% of total revenue in 2015 budget is a consequence of the crashing crude oil price, masked by government's ambitious projections for non-oil revenue generation in the new year 2016. Well, sustaining last week's bullish trend, trade at the Nigerian Stock Exchange kicked off on a bright note today, with investors favoring equities across board. The key benchmark index came in 0.27% higher. Here's Bolaji Akinwale with a summary of the day's trading figures.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. 186.37 million shares were exchanged by investors in 3,106 deals valued at 1.31 billion naira on the first trading day of the week at the Nigerian equities market. The local bourse continued its bullish run, boosted by mixed positive sentiment, with the all-share index up 0.27% at 25,890.94, with market capitalization at 8.906 trillion naira. Percentage-wise, Tiger-branded consumer goods, Sterling Bank and international breweries were the top three gainers for the session. There were 12 equities on the laggards list, led by Union Dye Consort, Vitafoam and Ikeja Hotel, with percentage drops of 4.98, 4.82 and 4.76% in that order. Zenith Bank was the most active, with over 25.45 million shares traded. That's on the Stock Market Report. I am Bolaji Akinwale.
Many thanks, Bolaji. Well, to some company news now. Ken Maduka has again emerged the overall winner of the Nigerian Breweries PLC Annual Distributors Award. Mr. Maduka says his determination and dedication has paid him off and maintains he will continue in that stride. Nigerian Breweries PLC organized the Distributors Award to celebrate its partners in business.
Those The 2016 Nigerian Breweries Distributors Award takes off on an energetic note. Memories of how the 70-year-old journey all began, starting from its first product, are graphically analyzed. The event is all about the men and women who have remained strong partners with the Nigerian Breweries PLC in bringing enjoyment and value to the lives of consumers in 2015.
What is shared with you, a perfect blend of lemonade and vodka we call Testifies. We brought to you the pocket-friendly Martina 33% PET. We broke the record. We shared with you for the first time more drinks in PET. It has never been done before. For Martina and for Amstel Malta. For the people in central Nigeria, we launched more. The pocket-friendly, refreshing lager that is 100% Nigerian.
The winners are 65 in all, in 10 categories of awards. 3 win the national award, cutting away a car each. But Mr. Ken Madwaku is the overall winner.
Naturally, everybody wants to be a winner, and I'm looking forward to maintain the same status again next year.
Great performance they've done in 2015, and I count on their support for 2016. We're set, we're ready to go. Nigerian breweries, our distributors and transporters.
The Nigerian Breweries PLC's annual Distributors Award ceremony may have encouraged more dedication and loyalty to its refreshing brands, as the number of distributors keep increasing yearly.
Now let's quickly flip over to the global markets and find out how some key equities performed today. And that's our package on business news tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Emana Amawe. It's back to Gimba.
You first. First Bank.
KPMG is one of Nigeria's foremost professional services company founded on integrity and excellence. The company decided to celebrate one of its own and current Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Okechukwu Enelama, whom, according to many, has not only demonstrated excellence, but has proven to be a performer. Our correspondent, Olu Phillips, who covered the event, reports.
Mention the word KPMG and it is quickly linked to a powerhouse of brains, attitude, expertise, all in one room, achieving professional results in healthcare, financial sector, governance, technology, power, telecoms, and more. So like in the previous year, KPMG is celebrating their alumni who have moved on to provide services elsewhere. Interestingly, the speaker at this evening's event is one of their own, who is now the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment. He's a man on the hot seat and he's been asked to discuss fostering an enabling environment for growth. So, SME growth, ease of doing business, attracting investment and industrialization are his 4 cardinal targets.
When we are, asked to come and serve, there's actually a document that was prepared under the previous government called the Nigeria Industrial Revolution Plan. Quite a number of people worked on it: UNIDO, McKinsey, KPMG. It's a good document. But it's one of these documents that is it's like a business plan. Unless you implement it, it's just a document, very well written. It's a document. So I told them, we have to implement it. We have to go from talk to action.
There was no way he could have escaped the issue of forex, so let's hear his plan.
And we talked about foreign exchange management is about managing supply and demand. not just managing demand, right? So a lot of our effort, and this is where my ministry comes in and most of us, is geared towards improving supply, which comes back to investment climate, which comes back to Nigerians in diaspora, which comes back to flexible foreign exchange policies, right? And all those things are being discussed with the idea that when we come up with policies this time, there will be no need for somersaults. There won't be knee-jerk reaction. I believe that the policies that you will see coming out, and that are imminent because we've been working on this for like 3 months, I believe that those policies will tend to be more sustainable because they've been better reasoned and they've stood more scrutiny.
What we want to do in Nigeria is to galvanize people, make sure people know, that this is a call, to duty, a call for action, in building a new Nigeria. So that's one of the reasons, why we decided, that we need to get the public involved, because we're evolving a new Nigeria, and we think, that everybody's hands should be on deck.
For him, partnering the private sector comes at no better time than now, and the federal government's team, he says, is robust with professionals who are ready to embrace the opportunity it presents. Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10. Athletics Federation of Nigeria picks 17 athletes to represent Nigeria at the World Indoor Championship in Oregon, United States. Stay with us.